Baltimore grew as a city on the water, and clean water is our most valuable natural resource. Pollution from litter, bacteria, nutrients, and sediment are among the big challenges that we face in improving water quality. Our greatest hope for success lies in citizen action.
Today we are painting storm drains, and it's the mayor's spring cleanup. So it's a fun day, and there's like 200 communities around the city that are doing cleanups, which is really cool. And we've been working with the green team at Highlandtown 237 to design and paint storm drain murals. And we've also been working with them to develop a skit about trash and keeping our streets clean.
Protect our streets, put your litter in the Bankey, Highlandtown.
The value of partnerships is unmeasurable. Specifically in Baltimore, there's so many great organizations that are working to clean up the city, and everybody has their own niche and everybody has their own audience, and when we can work together to kind of facilitate effective cleanup opportunities, it's an amazing thing.
It's a lot easier to hear from your neighbor. Things are important than necessarily hearing from a government official.
Okay, one person can't do this. You can't fight battles separately. You know, if you're going to fight, you can fight like this or you can fight like that. So what we do, we tell people, if you come and get involved with us, we can show you how to do the same thing.
We are an ultra-urban environment. We have a lot of ultra-urban issues that some of the areas don't have. And unfortunately, debris and trash is one of our biggest.
You guys, we're learning something here.
Yeah, this is kind of important.
So today we have about 100 students from Boys Latin School come here and help us at Fort McHenry. So they're picking up trash. That's great. But why are they picking it up? Why is it here? What kinds of trash do you see?
Hey, an old basketball.
What happens is they get to their own realization that this is all trash that didn't come from water sources. This is trash that came from the land.
So there's a great pride in our neighborhoods, and each of the neighborhoods has this great sense of identity. So when we're looking at doing the implementation of various practices, especially those that will be on the sidewalks or within the parks and neighborhoods, we want to capture that identity.
Learning about the history of a neighborhood from an 80-year-old man who's been there, for maybe 80 years. Spending time at his flower shop and talking to him about what's important to him and what's going on in his community and building trust. I've gotten to know some amazing people. It's been really important to just listen to them and hear what they're saying instead of coming in with my own agenda.
Look at this alley. This is ridiculous. It just didn't fall there. Someone put it there. Kids in the neighborhood play in the alleys and get sick. It just needs to stop.
You need to keep your alleys clean, your front clean, and care about your neighborhood. It's not where you live, it's how you live. I always say that.
We're blessed with having the only underground watershed here in our community. It's called the Harris Creek Underground Watershed. And ships used to actually flow down the Harris Creek watershed. And they covered it up so that the horse and buggies can go back and forth. And throughout the years, the whole creek was covered. The outlet for the Harris Creek watershed is right down on Boston Street.
We're trying to get netting put over the storm drains to catch all the debris. If we can get that taken care of, that will solve a big problem.
We need to educating people about how the environment affects their health is one of the main ways that we think that we can help clean up the underground watershed.
We wanted to talk to people about stormwater, and we realized we needed to talk about trash. Just letting folks know what that drain is at the end of their block. Lots of folks don't realize that it actually goes untreated directly into the Baltimore Harbor and into the bay.
We spreading the word. They said we was the first people in Baltimore City to ever paint the storm drains, and I guess we started a movement. That's all we really wanted to do, is get the message out there, and I want them to continue on what they're doing because they're doing a wonderful job.
Stop littering.
Yeah, stop littering. That's the message, basically. That's all. Stop littering.
Along with Waterfront Partnership and the Healthy Harbor Initiative, we invested some resources into stenciling, paint, some staffing to really kind of magnify the storm drain stenciling program to as many places in the city we could possibly get it. And we actually can't keep up with the demand. We are constantly needing to buy more stencils, buy more paint, and get more work done.
Well, Baltimore is a nice old city, so we've been doing stormwater management initially just by the capture and collection and conveyance in our infrastructure. We're also looking at the quality of water. So right now, whenever development occurs, there are certain requirements to have best management practices on that property to clean that water up. And then also through our MS4 permit, we're doing a restoration of impervious area.
So with the ACE project, we removed 3/4 of an acre of asphalt. That's a lot. And that removes almost 1 million gallons of storm water that would have been headed straight to the Jones Falls, and it allows it to soak into the gardens that we planted.
So a lot of the work that we're trying to do is preventative. If we can actually do more impervious surface removal and greening, we can reduce neighborhood flooding, which is frustrating to not just community residents, but it's actually very expensive for the city to go in and mitigate.
We have 800 trees planted in McElderry Park over the next 4 years. We already got 100 put in, and we want this area to look like the suburbs within the inner city, and it can.
The stream restorations that we did along the Stony Run, which is a tributary of the Jones Falls. Rather than just stabilizing the banks of the stream, we changed a little bit of the geometry of the stream. We tried to reconnect that stream to the floodplain. We added a lot of natural elements so that it could improve the habitat there. And within 2 years after the construction, we actually saw birds, bees, frogs, little crayfish were all in there.
The Baltimore City is going to impose a stormwater fee starting this year. As an aquarium and somebody interested in clean water, we obviously supported that. But we're going to be affected by it like everybody else in the city because we have property. Our old seal pool in front of the aquarium is a 40,000-gallon tank. And when we did some renovations, we changed that into a cistern. So it drains all the water from our roofs when it rains. And we use that water to then water our native plants outside of our plaza. We also have a green roof on one of our buildings. But we know that we're responsible for the water that comes onto our property, and we're willing to pay what it takes to clean it up.
So the stormwater utility is going to allow us to have sustainable funding for our stormwater management program. Previously, we relied on the general fund, which meant that each year we weren't sure about the funding that we were going to get. We have a proposed fee that is based on impervious area, which relates to the amount of runoff that a property would have. So it's equitable and it's fair. And we can then start to look long-term what kind of projects that we can have. Just by having that fee, a lot of people suddenly are going, stormwater, oh, okay, what is that?
When we knock on government's door and ask them to do more, and we can highlight that citizens are taking action in their neighborhood, it's a very powerful message and helps us push the accountability piece that everybody, every place, everywhere, everything needs to happen for clean water.
In Baltimore, we have what's called the Healthy Harbor Initiative. And it's an attempt to make the harbor fishable, swimmable by 2020. All of us have to get together and work together to make that happen.
If a good amount of people really apply to it and really stick to it, it will work and clean up our water.
Clean water is powered by people. We are actively engaging everybody.
We think it's all going to be a wonderful turn of events when we finally get down to the end of it. We're expecting to have a party in 2020. Come join us.